In this video, I talk about the insane story of why cell phone towers are designed like trees, to the benefits of using these fake trees and the future of cell phone network. In order for us to be able to communicate through the phone and receive other signals between cities and over long distances, we need these multiple antennas to receive or send out signals. This is called a cell phone tower or a base station. And the density of human population is directly proportional to the number of these cell phone towers, right? So if you can take a look, right? If I look up in this landscape, I can see maybe a dozen of these cell phone towers based on the number of people that live in my neighborhood. So since the 90s, cell phone companies have been putting these cell phone towers everywhere to try to cover all residential areas and places where people live and work. So I'm not really complaining about the number or the density of these cell phone towers, but I do have a problem with them. But I remember a time when I was growing up where we only had one cell phone tower in this entire neighborhood. So if you are trying to receive a call or you are trying to call someone, you have to do the motion. You have to find the signal, and when you finally find the signal, you can call someone. So this is a much better ideal for most people, but for me it's a problem. And they had a problem with this particular design that was going on in the 90s. So before the fake trees, we had this type of metals, and the companies were forced to add or multiply the carrier frequencies. So it looked weird and different. So this led to something called visual pollution. So let me show you what I'm talking about when I say carrier frequencies. So if you look at those are carrier frequencies, and they were different in the 90s. These ones seem more cute, but it's the only thing that I could find that resembled what was. So adding more of these carrier frequencies led to the worst designs ever. So these things were everywhere, these metal things. I don't even know what to call them. They were in schools, residential areas, in hospitals, and etc. And this led to ecologists, urban ecologists at the time, coining this particular disaster as visual pollution, as I've mentioned. Besides the cell phone tower visual pollution that was there in the 90s, another concern was about biological effect, which was a health hazard from electromagnetic field emission radiation. So this health hazard radiation is due to thermal effect. So if you want to know more about this, you can go check out Al Mosley 2010, they wrote a paper. So if you are interested in this type of research, go check it out. So the companies were claiming that these levels of radiation were safe, but the standards that they were using were completely wrong, because the standards said that these antennas need to be installed at a safe distance far from residential buildings and schools. And there are reports from people that live close by these antennas that have complaints about having sleep disturbance, dizziness, irritability, concentration difficulties, and hypertension. Then 1996 came, the year of reasonable doubt. A palm tree appeared out of nowhere right here in South Africa, Cape Town. So this was the very first ever fake tree in the entire world. So now, rather than having these unnatural metals all over, the company started trying to make these antennas try to feed into the natural world. So this combated the visual pollution that I spoke about, and the practice has been going on ever since. So all over the world, you see these type of antennas. You no longer see metals that you even saw back in the day. They were even on top of buildings. This was crazy if you think about the radiation that they were producing. When they were trying to combat the electromagnetic field emission, what they did was that these antennas started to have limited channels. So if they have limited channels, they produce and radiate less and less. So now they dealt with two problems at the same time: no more radiation that causes people difficulty sleeping and all that, and now they're no longer visually polluting the environment. It's more beautiful. Even though myself, I think I prefer the metallic design because of maybe the engineering scientist thing at the back of my mind. I just like to see beautiful designs as they were and not trying to copy something else. But I'm interested in the future, seeing what they're going to do with 5G, as they're talking about putting a tower or pole every other street so that there's more coverage. So I wonder what they're going to do to help us more visually acceptance of the 5G network.